Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be my reading wrap-up for the month of August. I can't believe this month is over. What a fast month this has been. But I had a really good reading month, so we're going to go and hop into the first book and what my thoughts were on it. Okay, so first off, this month I read 2 of the books from the Needle Shop Mystery Series by Vivien and Chien. These are incredible cozy mystery series. They are a culinary cozy mystery series following our main character, Lana, who runs her family's noodle shop in a place called Asia Village. Asia Village is basically a collection of shops, restaurants, and different boutiques, all with some kind of like Asian theme to them or Asian food or different styles, that sort of a thing. And Lana and her family run the noodle shop there. And Lana's a really fun character. She's in her late 20s, I want to say like 28 or so. She's spunky, she's very relatable. I really enjoy her as a character. The first book I read was called Egg Drop Dead, which I already returned to the library, so I'll pop a picture on screen. I do apologize if I sound a little hoarse, guys. I am at the very tail end of a head cold right now, and I'm feeling quite a bit better, about 80% right now, but my voice is still quite hoarse, so I'm sorry about that, but I'm gonna try to do the best I can for this video for you guys. So Egg Drop Dead was a really fun cozy mystery because it kind of took place outside of the typical Asia Village where a lot of the other mysteries have taken place. Essentially, they were doing their first catering gig, Lana and the noodle shop team, and so they were essentially at this like really wealthy woman's home catering by like this poolside party, and it just sounded really beautiful. And essentially one of the guests ends up being found dead in the pool, and then Lana gets involved with the mystery. And I love Lana. I love her roommate Megan. Megan is a hoot. She's a bartender. She's very like personable, very like, she seems very extroverted to me, and she's always encouraging Lana to get into mischief and helping her solve things. It's a fantastic series. I really enjoyed that mystery. I thought it was really well thought out. The second one I read is called Fatal Fried Rice, which is the next one in the series. My library doesn't have the... I think I skipped one. I skipped Killer Kung Pao because my library doesn't have that one, so I went right to Fatal Fried Rice. This one was probably my favorite of the 2. They were both very good, like strong 4-star reads for me. But this one took place where Lana is secretly taking a cooking class because even though she manages the noodle shop restaurant, she doesn't cook at all. And her family, especially her annoying older sister, is always teasing her about that. So she's too embarrassed to ask them to teach her, and she kind of wants to show them up. So she signs up for a cooking class. However, she finds the cooking instructor dead after her first class, which obviously is super terrible. It's also in a different district, so there's a different police department that she's dealing with, and they're very much like on her, suspecting her, and so she kind of has to clear her name, and just, it's a really involved mystery. I really enjoyed this one. I think there's only one more mystery that's out in this series, book 8. I believe I talked about that. I think it came out like this January or something, so I'm hoping more will come out next year because this is such an amazing series. So if you like culinary cozy mysteries, if you like family-centric cozy mysteries, if you like spunky, I guess millennial, she's like 28, 29, protagonist, Lana is such a relatable, amazing character. I really love this series. So the next book I read this month is called Dead and Breakfast. This was one that you guys strongly wanted me to read and give feedback on. I featured this in my physical TBR video this month, which I'll link above if you want to check it out, where I was showing you the different books that I own that I haven't read yet. And this is what the book looks like here. This is written by Kingsbury, and this is the first book in a Mary Ghost Inn mystery. There are 3 books in total. It looks like the series has stopped from what I could tell. So this is book 1. And this was a delight. This was a 5-star read, cozy mystery for me. It's so enjoyable. It's got a touch of supernatural elements. There's a ghost that essentially haunts the bed and breakfast that our main character, Melanie, and her grandmother are revamping and turning into a bed and breakfast, which is going to be called a Mary Ghost Inn. These 2 characters are a hoot. They have such a fun relationship as grandmother and granddaughter. I absolutely love it. The granddaughter, Melanie, is getting over a bad divorce that happened a couple years back. She's had some tragic news as a result of the divorce and like the fallout from that. She's just really needing like some some like, you know, fresh change, and her grandmother has always wanted to run a bed and breakfast, so they decided to revamp this place and run it together. And so this book kind of follows them as they're revamping and redecorating the place, and while they're going about that, they're tearing wallpaper off of the wall in one of the bedrooms, and they discover a secret room with a skeleton inside, and they report it to the police, and the police believe it's the previous owner's wife. So they close off that area. They're kind of delayed in opening, and they're in as a result, and they start to worry about finances because they're on a very tight budget. So they decide to look into the mystery to try to solve it, because the police are kind of putting it on the back burner because it's a cold case, because of how old the skeleton is, because they have like some newer cases they have to really prioritize because they're more of a danger perhaps to the town than this like really old case. So Melanie and her grandmother start to snoop around. This just had the most delightful writing style. I've never read anything by Kate Kingsbury, and now I really want to. I know she wrote the Tea Shop or Tea Room mystery series, and I've heard good things about that. I definitely want to check that out now. During this book, they also go about adopting a puppy, which is featured on the cover, and that was just a really great addition to it. I loved this. The mystery was well thought out. I did solve it, but it was a good reveal. It was very exciting, and I loved the relationship between the characters. I loved the setting. I feel like the flow of the story was very natural. Sometimes it feels like in mysteries, in cozy mysteries, it can get very like repetitive with them just like, I don't know, having like clues fall into their lap, and this felt very much like they were active sleuths. They were really digging, they were looking for things. It felt like, you know, they would have things that wouldn't turn out with good information. Like, it felt very natural. I really enjoyed the pacing and flow of the story, so I definitely recommend this. I know my library has book 2 and 3 in this, so I'm going to check that out probably this season because it's just a nice spooky touch. The supernatural elements aren't extremely strong. It's not like one of the other ones I'll talk about later today, but it does have just a nice touch of spookiness for the season, which I really enjoyed. Now, if you're looking for something that is truly terrifying and thrilling, I cannot help but recommend The Maidens by Michaelides. This book I read for my booktubers recommendations video, which I picked 3 of my favorite booktubers and some of their favorite mystery or thriller novels, and I chose to read those in a reading vlog video, which I'll link above if you want to check out my full thoughts on that. And I read The Maidens as Alexandra Roslin's recommendation because she recommends that in one of her videos. If you're looking for a fast-paced academic Greek life, there's a lot of like Greek tragedy undertones in it. It's really interesting. I haven't read too many thrillers, but I'm really getting into the genre. And essentially this follows our main character, who is a therapist, and she is visiting her niece at Cambridge because her niece's friend ends up being murdered in like a very, very disturbing and brutal way. And this is definitely not cozy in any stretch of the imagination. It was a very, very dark thriller. So she visits her niece, and her niece is obviously very distraught about everything, and she is also, at the same time, the main character is recovering from the loss of her husband, who drowned about a year earlier. So it's just very interesting. It's a very tragic thriller. There's a lot of Greek tragedy undertones. I really enjoyed it. It definitely requires a suspension of disbelief. Like, it's pretty fantastical, but if you're looking for something you can't put down that's really dark, really intense, like, I read this in under 24 hours. I was hooked. I had to know. I barely guessed it, and I was very, very proud of myself. I've heard some people critique this for not having enough clues or it being like a weird ending or something, but I thought there were some good breadcrumbs in there. I don't know, but I enjoyed it. I really, really liked it. It was a very entertaining read, like a good 4 stars. Great thriller. I enjoyed it. I'm actually planning on reading The Silent Patient, which is his first novel, and I'm excited for that. So definitely recommend that. It's quite intense. There are a lot of dark themes, so if you're sensitive to any particular topics, you might want to look up trigger warnings. Just a warning. Most of the stuff I talk about on my channel is more on the cozy side, which is my preferred, but I do like to mix it up and throw a thriller in because it's just enjoyable. It's like a nice change of pace. Okay, the next book I read was called Till Death Do Us Tart by Ellie Alexander. This is part of the Bake Shop mystery series, which is just such a favorite of mine. It's incredible. If you love a baking cozy mystery series, this is an excellent one. It takes place in Ashland, Oregon, which is this tourist-driven town. Beautiful scenery. It has a very heavy Shakespearean undertone. The whole like town does Shakespeare festivals and there's just a lot of Shakespeare themes, which I think is really fun if you like those like literary references and things. And essentially this takes place with Jules trying to arrange a surprise wedding for her mother and her mother's fiance, which if you read the series in order, you really get to watch them develop as characters, and they're very sweet. I really, really like that. And the wedding is actually midsummer, like a Midsummer Night by Shakespeare, like themed, which is really cool. However, before the wedding, her best friend Lance, who is like the art director, like theater director in town, comes to her, and he has this like family drama, and he's never mentioned family to her at all. It's very shocking to her to find out this, and he asks for her help, and they kind of stage something like kind of a meeting of people at the wedding, and it's just a really interesting, different type of mystery for this series. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was super unique. If you like a lot of character arcs and character development throughout your cozy mysteries, this is definitely a good series for that. They really develop over time. I really would recommend reading this in order, especially like I know some cozy mystery series you can really jump in and out and you're not going to miss a lot. This one I definitely recommend reading in order because there's really great character arcs for all the characters, like Jules, her mother, her friends, the employees at Tart, which is the bake shop, just everything. It's incredible. I really recommend this series. I can't say enough good things about it. It just gives me warm, cozy vibes every time I open it, and this was just such a sweet, endearing, cozy mystery with a great mystery. I couldn't recommend it enough. So my next one is actually kind of a fun, like, nonfiction read. It's called Millenneagram, the Enneagram Guide for Discovering Your Truest, Baddest Self by Paasch, and this was really interesting. So I'm somebody who likes personality tests and things like that, and the Enneagram is really interesting to me, and I just kind of wanted to read something about it, going more in depth on the type that I thought I was. This includes a quiz you can take. There's 9 different Enneagrams. It has a really great breakdown of it and all. I enjoyed it. I mostly read 3 sections for different types that I thought I fell into to kind of get a better idea of them, as well as a couple sections on different types that I know like my husband or family members might fall into, just to kind of get a better idea of maybe, you know, ways to encourage them, support them based on like their type. And I found this to be really interesting. It was really easy to read. It had a lot of fun, quirky, like, social media, pop culture references, so it was very, like, lighthearted in terms of writing style. But it was still very informative. It was very well organized. I really enjoyed it. It was just a fun, enjoyable read. I don't take it too seriously, but if you enjoy this kind of thing, this was a fun, interesting guide to go through. So A Potion to Die For by Heather Blake was one of the other books I read for the booktuber video, and that was a recommendation I pulled from Spencer from Intentionally Bookish's channel, and this was a great read. It's a supernatural cozy. Our main character comes from a family of witches, and she runs a potion shop that specifically specializes in like matchmaking, like love potions, but they serve a variety of different ones, like she makes sleep potions, health potions, etc. What I like about it is the magic's not too overpowered. The potions can't make anyone fall in love, or like you have to want the effects of the potion when you take it for it to actually work, which I like. Because sometimes I feel like magic can kind of ruin a mystery by being too strong, so I really liked that. This takes place in the South at a place called Hitching Post, Alabama, which is known for its like shotgun weddings and elopements and stuff, and this was just really entertaining. Basically, it's the first book in the series. A man is found dead in Carly's potion shop, clutching one of her potion bottles, which looks pretty bad for her, and so she gets involved in the investigation trying to figure that out. She also has this very interesting cousin named Delilah, who is like a bad witch, so she practices like white magic. One side of the family practices black magic, and so Delilah actually has like a hex shop with like things you can buy to like put hexes and negative like curses on people, so she's definitely a darker witch, but she was a very entertaining character. I want a book from her point of view, but I did like this. I give it like a strong 3.5 stars. I'm not as big on the supernatural cozies, but this one was definitely enjoyable. I did include it in my autumn book recommendations, which I'll link above if you want to check it out. I recommended 10 different autumn books. And yeah, this was just a fun read. It was enjoyable. It was lighthearted. I really sped up. I thought the mystery was well thought out. There was a lot of different subplots and stuff that came together really nicely. And yeah, I enjoyed it. For a supernatural cozy, it was really fun. The next book I read is a nonfiction called Don't Trust Your Gut by Seth Stephens-Davidowitz, and it was really interesting. I thought this was extremely interesting. The premise of this, like the little synopsis up here, is using data to get what you really want in life, and basically it's kind of about our natural biases as humans and how they can kind of cloud our judgment, and how using data to really help our decision-making process can actually like really make big changes in our life, despite what our like feelings and biases can kind of like lead us to think. So this was really interesting. It was an informative read. I guess he's written another book called Everybody Lies, which I'm kind of interested in checking out, but it was a fast read. It was informative. I thought it was well structured. He had a lot of studies and things he used to back up his different points and stuff, so I thought this was a very interesting read. If you're interested in statistics and data at all, and just like kind of human decision making and how we can kind of err with our biases, I thought this was a really interesting read, and I think I gave it like a strong 4 stars on Goodreads, and it was just a really good informative read that kind of makes you second guess how you make your decisions, basically. Okay, so the next book I finished this month was called Renovated to Death, a Domestic Partners in Crime Mystery. This is by Frank Anthony Polito, and this is a debut cozy mystery novel. He's written other things. I believe he's like a playwright, and he's written other books before, but this was his first cozy mystery, and this was a really fun cozy. I really enjoyed it. I thought the characters were absolutely hilarious. They had really fun personalities. They were really fleshed out and dynamic. I thought this had a fun twist to it, with the just how the crime and everything was committed. And the basic synopsis of this is that you have 2 men who are the main characters. They are both partners in business and like romantic partners, and they are about to do the 2nd season of this TV show they're on, which is basically them like flipping houses. So they like purchase a house and then completely renovate it, and their names are I thought it would get confusing, but it honestly didn't, because they had such distinct personalities and like ways that they communicated that even though their names were PJ and JP, I actually kept them straight really easily, because I was concerned I would start like just confusing them because of how similar their names are. They're basically looking for their next big house project for the launch of the 2nd season of the show. They had a really successful 1st season. They're really excited about that, and they're looking for their next big project when they stumble upon this house that is owned by 2 twins. And the 2 twins are named Tom and Terry, and shortly after they agree to take on the project, one of the twins is found dead in the house. And of course this sets, a lot of things off. There's a lot of big problems with this. They're trying to figure out what happened. The police are trying to figure out what happened, and it's just a very big, fun, mysterious mess. There's a lot of possible suspects. There was like a younger boyfriend. There was different people who really disliked him because he was quite aggressive. There's a lot of ex-employees or current employees who are quite angry or have reason to possibly want this man dead. So there is just a lot of drama, a lot of fun stuff. I thought the personalities of these characters were really fleshed out, really enjoyable. I liked the dialogue. I thought it was very witty. Like, I found myself laughing at certain parts. Like, it was very fun. It was a very, very fun read. I definitely want to check out more when more come out in this series. This book I think just came out in April or May, so this is a very new launch, and I can't wait to see more in the series because it was just really fun. And the 2 men, as like kind of a subplot throughout the book, are looking to adopt a dog, which just made my heart swell. I'm currently I'm renting a place with my husband, and we can't have a pet, and I can't wait to go about adopting and looking for our own pet one day. So getting to read about them adopting a pet was just really exciting, and yeah, I would recommend this. It was a really fun read. Alright, and the last book I read, this was a very fun, quick read. It's called The Multi-Hyphen Life, Work Less, Create More, and Design a Life That Works For You. It's by Emma Gannon, and this is basically all about kind of creating like a portfolio career, and also just having it all in terms of, balancing your work, your life, just your happiness, going for both paid and personal projects that are important to you, looking after your hobbies. I think it's especially helpful for people like myself who are freelancers or who do have like portfolio careers in some way or another. But even if you work a traditional 9-to-5, I think this is a very interesting look at kind of our current gig economy in some ways, and also just different ways to balance life and just kind of improve your own personal like branding. And I just found this to be a really enjoyable read. It's very, very quick. This book it's about 182 pages if you don't read through the like the sources at the back and the index. It's about 182 pages of actual reading. There's some really great interviews in here with different people that she calls multi-hyphenate, who are basically people who have successfully pursued like careers in different things. So for example, like someone who's like a radio host and a chef, someone who runs, you know, podcasts and is also a full-time writer, like just different things like that. And I find that to be personally really interesting, because the idea of this book essentially is that we're kind of told, or at least a lot of us have been told, that being a jack of all trades, you know, it doesn't pay as well, or it's not as good of a choice, like go, you know, niche down basically. But she argues that you can still have a very eclectic, creative, like multi-hyphenate, as she puts it, career in life, and just you know, balance these different things and enjoy multiple aspects of your, you know, your identity and what you enjoy without sacrificing quality. And I just really enjoyed this. I thought it was good. I'm glad I own this book, because I feel like it's going to be a really good resource and just like a good reminder. So if you enjoy that kind of nonfiction, if you're interested in learning more about that, the first few chapters kind of set you up more for the kind of how our generations are right now in the workforce and kind of like the overview of the economy. She also gives you some helpful exercises like this at the end of the first chapter, which is basically breaking down like what your idea of success is and kind of breaking away from just what society's idea of success is. Because, you know, maybe some people really want like, you know, the white picket fence with the house and the 2 kids and a dog, but, you know, a lot of people don't want that. They want different things. And, you know, like hers include things like being able to travel, a sense of creative fulfillment, being able to afford a new throw for the sofa, just, you know, just different things like that, and just kind of rethinking the way you look at work. And I really enjoyed this, so I wanted to throw that in at the end. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I do apologize again about my voice. I know it's given out a little bit right now, so I apologize about that. Thank you for watching. Please let me know down below, what did you read this month? What did you enjoy? Would you recommend what you read? I had a very good reading month. I'd say everything I read this month I would recommend to you. If it's something that, you know, sounds interesting to you, I'd recommend it. I had a good time reading everything that I mentioned in today's video. So thank you guys again for watching, and thank you for 800 subscribers. I just hit that today, which is just so exciting, so thank you again. It means a lot to me. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I do post mystery and book content every single week, and I don't want you to miss out. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!